Welcome to Healthy Births, Happy Babies, where we share tips, tools, and stories grounded in natural childbirth and parenting principles, so that instead of feeling overwhelmed and confused during this exciting time in your life, you feel safe, supported, and empowered in your childbirth and parenting journey. And now, here's your host, Dr. Jay Warren.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Healthy Births, Happy Babies. I am Dr. Jay Warren. I'm the family wellness chiropractor and the wellness care coordinator here at the CAP Wellness Center. And today we have Margaux Khoury here to talk to you about her brand new project, something I am very excited about and something I am very honored to be a part of, and that is Birth.World. It's an online community that's being created of experts in natural childbirth, in prenatal care, postpartum care, parenting, and it's an incredible team of experts, and it's also going to be a peer support group as well. So she's going to tell us all about that. But before I introduce and bring Margaux on, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, the CAP Wellness Center. The CAP Wellness Center in Encinitas, California has assembled an incredible team of fully certified holistic healthcare professionals that offer the very best in prenatal, postpartum, and pediatric wellness services. We offer chiropractic, massage, yoga, acupuncture, lactation support services, and a wide variety of birth education classes to ensure that you are fully able to experience the power of birth. So now let me introduce Margaux Khoury to you, and then we'll bring her on for our conversation. Margaux is an alternative health advocate, an activist, a mother, a doula, and a consultant for expecting parents and stay-at-home mothers wanting to create their own companies. She is the founder of Birth.World, an online community of the top birth and pregnancy professionals worldwide. Birth.World aims to reach the masses and believes that every parent deserves to know their rights in pregnancy, childbirth, and parenting. Margaux has interviewed the best of the best in the industry as a podcaster, and she's also the producer for a new documentary film out of Brazil called Mothers of the Earth. So it's obvious that Margaux is up to amazing things and a lot of things in the natural birth community, and we are very fortunate to have her on the podcast today. So let's switch over to my conversation with Margaux so she can share more about these projects and how it can help you as a parent. All right, Margaux, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Dr. J. It's so good to be here.
Great. Well, I am really excited to have you here, and I'm very thankful that you're taking the time to talk with us today about your Birth.World, because I know you're very close to launching, and I know how launches can go. It can be a very busy, hectic time. So thank you for taking the time to talk with us and, share with our listeners how it's going to be able to help them. I think it's an amazing project you're working on.
Absolutely, and thank you for that.
Sure. Well, our bio, or your bio, I read, our listeners heard that part of things. But to start out, just give us a little more background about who you are as a person and how, you got started in the natural birth world, and then that will naturally dovetail into how you created this new Birth.World. So tell us a little more about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny, I was a teacher. I taught at the high school level way back when, and discovered early on, after just a few years of teaching, that I'm an entrepreneur. So when my husband and I got together, we launched a couple of businesses and went that route. And of course, when I had my first child, Maddox, over 4 years ago now, things changed, as it does for most parents. Like a new baby comes into your world. I wanted to research everything there was to know about pregnancy, about birth, about everything. And so this is the type of person I am. And, that's actually what led me to think of the birth world. The world as a whole, and how we birth and how it affects future humanity and everything. So that's pretty much where it started.
And were you a doula before Maddox came, or is that something that came afterwards?
That's something that came afterwards through this burning fire, as they say, to kind of help women because of the experience that I had, which wasn't horrible, but I did have I would say a good hospital birth. Mm-hmm. And I became a doula shortly afterwards and started diving into the research and reading everything there was to read about birth, pregnancy, including parenthood.
Right. And, this is what you're creating now is literally Birth.World. There will be a website, an online community. And it's a brand new project. It's going to be launching just very shortly after this podcast publishes. And so tell us, kind of take it back to the beginning of like how it started congealing, coming together, the experts first, or was it just the idea and then they started coming? How did it evolve?
I remember I was like at the bookstore or something. I think it was Chapters here in Eastern Canada. And I actually bought a bunch of books, but I was looking at all these books that I wanted to buy and read. And I realized that as a pregnant woman, I had so much, like I was still working and I didn't have a lot of time on my hands. And also I was spending a lot of money on everything, books and webinars and everything there's to know. So this is where the idea sparked that the world sort of needs a one-stop shop, like a hub, where all of these amazing experts with important information, and their message is so important. And so there's got to be a place where a pregnant woman or expecting parent can go and get this information at their fingertips. So I remember thinking of that. Nothing happened back then. I didn't do anything with it. It wasn't until, fast forward a couple years, I was at a friend now, Dr. Jack Newman, whom probably most of your listeners know who he is, a renowned breastfeeding expert. He's Canadian like myself, and so I met him at his house in Toronto, and that's kind of where this was born, so to speak.
And I would assume since way back then you were looking for this resource and didn't find it, because obviously if you had found it, you would need to create something new, right?
This is it. I thought it may have. I thought perhaps something like that existed, and when so nothing like this. I mean, I found amazing information and other things I could listen to and books, but nothing like this. So I actually started writing a book with some experts, some professionals in the birth world, and that book turned into this, which we are still writing this book. It will be actually released in the new year, but it turned into what is now Birth.World. And if you go to the site, you'll see everyone involved there.
Okay. And it was with Dr. Newman that things really started evolving in that way?
He was one of the first people that said, I'd love to be interviewed. This world needs more Dr. Jack Newmans. And, Dr. Sarah Buckley was one of our first as well. I was just blown away by their kindness and generosity, and also our message. Like our message is very in line with or in tune with their message. We just all deliver it in a different way, and it's all about helping families. It's all about helping mothers realize that they deserve to know their rights in childbirth.
Right, and I've found the same thing in the birth community. It is such a supportive community, with the experts, collaborating and introducing and working together, because really we're here to serve not only the mamas, but the babies, and bring the babies into the world in a more healthy way. And we all just want more of that. So it's amazing how teams can come together so quickly when there's such an amazing message to deliver.
Absolutely. You're bang on. It's amazing, and it really is a passion. It's like one of these things where we just all want to strive for the same thing. And then when we come together, it's just beautiful. There's no competition. It's just all one big world working together. And this is how we see it. And this is why we created it.
Right. And so tell our listeners more about what Birth.World is. Like, it's obviously a website and an online community, but tell us more about what to expect. If depending on when you're listening to this, Birth.World will either be launched and going, or you might be in the pre-phase and being able to sign up online for access to it. But tell our listeners more about what the site will be all about and what it offers.
Sure. It's a free membership. You can, parents can sign up for it, and the information that they'll get there is pretty much invaluable. We're doing podcasts with each and every one of these experts. We'll also have videos available, which are pretty exclusive, because a lot of these people don't really do video interviews, and some of them I actually drove. I drove to Tennessee and to Alabama and all these places to interview people. And so that's one thing that they're getting. Webinars. We're also introducing, we don't know, we're so new that we don't know what we're going to call it. I'm thinking it's going to be called something like masterclass or something like this, where we have created courses, very, very short, simple, fantastic courses on any topic under the sun, any topic you can think of within that has to do with like childbirth, pregnancy, or parenting. And we're doing this in collaboration with the experts and everyone involved.
Fantastic. And they'll have access to each of these amazing experts. I mean, going through the expert team that you've assembled, it just goes it goes on and on and on. You can scroll for a long time going down here, and all of these just like huge names, just like you said, with Dr. Sarah Buckley and Jack Newman, Ina May Gaskin, Dr. Elliot Berlin. I just had a conversation with him last week for a podcast interview, who's an amazing resource as well. It's quite an amazing ensemble.
Thank you so much. And I'm really thrilled to have you a part of it as well. And yes, Dr. Elliot Berlin, also his wife, Dr. Alyssa Berlin, both of them, they're just, I mean, I can't speak highly enough about anyone that I have here that have gathered. And I really see it as a community. I don't see it as, I'm the founder, sure, but I don't see it as my thing at all. I'm really, it's a tribe. We're all benefiting the exact same way. It's beautiful because it's all going to be syndicated. And my hope is really to draw a lot of attention to each one of these experts as well, because as you and I know, to continue doing the amazing work that they're doing, we all need eyeballs and people supporting us,
Yes.
So that's the other part of the mission of Birth.World, is to help each and every one of us continue this important message.
Right. So not just a community for the parents, but also a community for those experts.
Exactly.
Right. Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And from it, we heard in your bio as well that you're going to be a producer of a new documentary film. Tell us more about that.
Thank you for mentioning that. We are. I'm really excited about it. It's a friend of mine, actually Joanne Young, who is she's a raw food chef to many celebrities, but Giselle Bundchen is one of them, who, of course, was in the business of being born with Ricky Lake. Mm-hmm. She had a natural birth. She had a fantastic birth, both her children, and a mutual friend, Mayara, who is the director of the film, and I've been asked to be one of the producers in North America. I'm the only one in North America. And so we want the message to spread about this documentary, which features 4 traditional midwives from Brazil and their stories. They're heroines. They wear many, many hats. They come from communities that really don't have a lot. One of them, I mean, if you could see their clinics and how they work, it's just amazing. And it just goes to show the power of the human body, the power of what we can do. And I believe they're helping reduce the maternal mortality rate in Brazil, and when this message gets out worldwide.
Right. And it's called Mothers of the Earth?
Yes, Mothers of the Earth in English. And of course it will be in Portuguese, but translated in English.
And when do you expect that to be available to watch?
It will be available. We're not 100% sure. We don't have a date yet, and but we can. I would say stay tuned for that.
Right. I'm sure the announcements through Birth.World will be there for it.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's something that I think would be an amazing teaching tool, just hearing the little about it that I have for those of us in the States or North America that are, more westernized in the birth world. It's more assuming that it's going to be in a hospital, and you're saying, oh, which hospital are you going to birth in, instead of saying, well, there are other options, and it's not just because you live in a third world country that you're doing a midwife. My son was born at home with a midwife here in San Diego, California. It was an amazing, beautiful birth, and that's what both Effie and I wanted for our child, but it's definitely not for everyone. But we chose that, and we had the information to be able to make an informed choice of what was best for us and for our family. And instead of just in North America assuming that you have to have it in a hospital, this might open some minds into bringing the baby into a different way.
Yes, absolutely. I think I think any information on birth and really reassuring mothers that their body is meant to do it. I think anything that kind of sends that message is a really, really good thing. I have two experiences, one in hospital and one at home. And I always said, before I had my baby at home, I was thrilled with my experience in the hospital. It's not always a horror story. But now, having had my baby at home with my traditional midwives or birth attendants, it is just, I can now look back and see how different and how much better it is for our family.
Right. And even if a woman chooses to have a birth in a hospital, like bringing the principles into that birth in the hospital can make a huge difference on how that baby's brought into the world and how, the mom is treated as well. I think in all the moms that I've worked with prenatally, innately, every woman knows that this is the most natural thing in the world and that their body's designed and created to birth babies into the world. Yet the messaging here in North America, at least, is birth's a medical emergency and you need to go into the hospital and have a doctor help you through it. And a doctor's assistance and medical assistance absolutely is sometimes necessary and can be very safe for the birth, but the power's taken away from the mom. And more that can be delivered to the mom isn't the far of information or even just kind of stories about a different way can stir that up and allow them to have a different way of going about it.
Absolutely. And you know what, Dr. J, our agenda is never to say, never to judge a parent or say this is how we should do it or this is how you should do it. Right. Our only agenda really is to get this information into the hands of the masses where they're not getting it through mainstream avenues. Do you know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
not like they're hearing it from every birth or every physician out there. So
right, and we here at the CAP Wellness Center, it's a truly integrated model of care using acupuncture and chiropractic and massage. And Dr. Cap, the OB that we work with here, he does hospital births, but he does a very natural, empowering birth for women. It's a very different experience from women that have had previous hospital experiences. So it's almost that it doesn't necessarily matter where the birth happens. That environment can definitely send a birth in different directions, but it's the information that's necessary. And that's what we want to do, is just empower women with information so they can make an informed choice and then be 100% with the choices that they're making, that it's the best for them and their baby.
Yes, absolutely. And I love hearing that. We need more Dr. Caps of the world as well.
Yes, we do, for sure.
We do, with doctors. And I think that's why, documentaries and any information like Ricky Lake, for example, The Business of Being Born. I mean, doctors are watching it and it is opening up their eyes to other possibilities. They've never seen perhaps a natural birth before, physiological birth before.
Right. And one of the original ideas of why Dr. Cap wanted to create the Wellness Center was because he was finding that women that were taking birth education classes, doing hypnobirthing, being very empowered in their birth, as well as using chiropractic, acupuncture, massage, doing yoga, were having much better birth outcomes. And so he wanted to create a center where it was all, like-minded, congruent practitioners taking care of the moms that he was taking care of as well. But really another outpouring of that is to look at results. We're tallying numbers of, all right, these women that were doing all of these educational tools and healthcare tools, what's the C-section rate? What's the APGAR scores? What are those kind of things, so that he can then start educating his other fellow practitioners around, hey, this is what's happening if women take really good care of themselves and we empower them and we educate them, so that it can start spreading like wildfire.
Love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And your Birth.World is completely congruent with that. We want to make sure that people have this information. And so where can they get signed up? Where's the best way for them to be a part of it? www.birth.world. It's not .com, it's just birth.world, and just go there, check it out. It's not, at the time of this recording with you, Dr. J, it's really not supposed to be live. We haven't launched, but you can still sign up for the free membership, which it will always be free. And then we will have upgrades and stuff and really special things going on
within the membership as we get going.
Great. And I'll include that link in the show notes and on the blog post so that you can click onto it. And just like I did, put my name and email address in it so I know when things launch.
Right on. Yeah. And you'll get notified. And anyone, they can send in questions and whatever. It's going to be very interactive. We're going to make sure of that, like, private Facebook group and anything, because I think it's really important as a woman, if you're pregnant, to get information right away, at your fingertips. And so this is what we aim to do at Birth.World.
Right. And expert information as well as peer information. It sounds like the support community that can be created by these like-minded moms can be, just as valuable as the experts.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm so glad you mentioned that. We've really, as moms, as mothers who have given birth or even who have attended births or just innately in their own knowledge, we've lost that kind of wise woman to wise woman feel. I really feel that women in North America especially, having talked to so many, I really feel we have lost that intuitive voice. We have given it over to the system or something else to say, here, take over and I will just follow, whereas really we need to be more in charge, I feel. Kind of more the leading role of our pregnancy. And so that's it. I love that you mentioned the peer-to-peer, because that's so important.
Yeah, it is, as you said, kind of a lost part of the birth community now. Is it used to be a multi-generational experience, where you have the moms and the grandmas and the aunts and the friends all together kind of educating a woman about the do's and what's going to happen and all those kind of things. But a lot of that's lost. And so I think Birth.World can really help in bringing that feeling back, whether or not it's your own genetic bloodline that's supporting you, but in a peer sense, so that people can get the information, but then also be supported in making those choices.
Yes, absolutely. And, we want to hear from your audience too. We want to hear from everyone we're talking to, because we will ship, our ears are wide open to anything that they want, anyone in the future they want to be involved, whether it's a doula who just started yesterday or someone like people we've mentioned, like Ina May Gaskin. We just really want to hear from everyone.
Right.
So
it's amazing the community you're creating. I mean, I understand it's in its inception, and I think it's going to be huge. I'm really excited to be able to refer my patients to it, and everybody here on the podcast to be a part of it as well, because people are hungry for this type of community and information. And so, Margaux, I just applaud you for all the hard work I know you're putting into making this a reality for all of us.
Thank you so much, and likewise, I applaud you for your helping families and everything that you do.
Oh, thank you. And with our last couple minutes, I always like ending our interviews with our experts with asking 2 questions, one for the moms and one for the babies. Are you ready for that?
I am.
Yeah, good. So the first one's for the mom is listening, whether they're an expectant mom, they haven't met their baby yet, or they're a brand new mama and they're listening, trying to get more information. And what message, what would you like a mom to take to heart based on our conversation today, or maybe even something different? What would you like them to hear and take to heart today?
Well, there's, of course, so much, but if I think about it right now, I mean, I'd love them to know as a mother that the power is in your hands, and that, women have been there, they've done that. We are all sisters in this world doing it together. And, you're not alone. That's something I love to hear. So I want other mothers to hear. And that the information these days, with the way things are going with the internet, and it's there and it's available, and seek it out. Because, again, you're not alone. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love that, the sisterhood, 'cause that is just a feeling a lot of women want to have during pregnancy, and sometimes they don't. So
yeah, and even postpartum, I want to mention too the importance of after the baby's born. Mothers feel that they're like, wow, okay, now it's about the baby, and this huge change has happened in their life. So we have a lot of fantastic experts that are coming on talking about the postpartum period, Dr. J, which is vitally important. So I want all women to know that they're also not alone in their postpartum period, and there are things that they can do to make it just a beautiful experience.
Right. Well, and then the last question for the babies, imagine there's a, little baby maybe on mama's chest, listening to the podcast through mommy, or, in utero, haven't even been born into the world, listening through mommy. What what pearl of wisdom, what kind of message would you like to whisper into their little ear if you could?
Just that mommy is really listening, and that your needs will be met and you are loved.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And whether in the world yet, they're still loved right now.
Absolutely. Even if it's just a kind of a glimmer in a parent's eye right now, they are loved, and that's all that it is. It all comes down to unconditional love.
Yes. Well, Margaux, thank you so much for your time. I understand just your busy schedule. I'm so glad that we were able to have this conversation and have it recorded so everyone can listen to it on the podcast. Thank you again so much. Your passion really shines through, how excited you are about it, and I just know it's going to be a huge thing for our listeners. So thank you again.
Thank you for having me, Dr. J.
Right.
Thank you for joining us today. For more information about this episode and other natural childbirth and parenting topics, please visit us at capwellnesscenter.com or message us on our Facebook page with any questions you might have. We here at the Cap Wellness Center look forward to helping you and your family be as happy and healthy as you can be.